Dum dee dum dee dum. I believe we're live. Do, 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 do. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope everyone is well today. So always have to assume it's live and working. Hello. Okay, I guess we're good. Let me pull up there we go. All right. So I must be excused. I am a little more mellow today. I just had a slightly rougher morning. Guys, don't have low blood pressure. It's not fun. Anywho, thank you for joining us today. I think it's going to be a fun day. So I thought today, why not do Cruella De Vil? It was a fun recommendation, and she's a cool character. We've been drawing a lot of creatures, or high blood pressure, yes, either one of those. So to get started, if you have a pencil, a marker, and a eraser, which for some reason I keep throwing away today, these are your ideal tools. But if not, any light and dark colored pencil, crayon, marker, whatever you have. And we will be painting today, so brushes if you have it. If not, whatever you have to use to color. Color whatever you like. So that way we can get started and enjoy another day, and you guys can let me know how the resolution is and all that stuff. All the stuff. So for Cruella De Vil, we're going to start off with our favorite shape. We're just going to move the watercolor to the side on my messy painted desk. Look how pretty this is, though. It's creating a pattern from overuse. She's going to look creepy cute. Definitely creepy cute. So we're going to start off with a circle. And we are going to do our line down the middle. And I guess that's horizontally. And this down the middle. Weren't you guys? 100%. Recovering. So we have this shape, which is a circle with a crossbow, but it's what we need. And we're just going to move to her pose. So we have her head. We're going to make a big, cute head. We're going to do a little circle for her neck, just as a placeholder for her neck. Remember, everything when we do it is going to be a lot of shapes, very basic ones, and then we're going to carve them out to create the character. And Cruella De Vil is a more lanky, skinnier character, but we're still going to make it cutesy and make her young looking, but we're going to take a lot of that, her original shape into, we're just going to work with it. Hi, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy my work. I love hearing that. And once we have this, we're going to do a line for her shoulders. I'm going to slant it a little bit because of the pose I want her to be in. And then I'm going to do an oval for her upper body. And I know some of you guys talk about animation lines. If we're going to do an animation line for Cruella De Vil, which can also help with her pose, we're going to curve it and then curve it down this way. So it's very organic. So if we have an animation line, which I don't use too much for my work, but this would be a really good time to show you guys how to work with animation lines. So this curve right here, very slight one, this is going to be the basic pose we are going to be working today for Cruella De Vil. And we're going to create a little oval for her waist. And then we're going to set a little triangle for her hips. I know we usually don't use a triangle, but because she's a skinnier character, I'm going to set it up as this little shape right here just to help me pose her today. And because of her body shape, she is a lot more lanky. So we're going to keep this in mind. So this would be one leg socket. So we're going to make her standing with one leg down and the other leg bent. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to do one sausage and a second sausage. Remember, this is the knee going down. And then we're going to just do a little triangle for her foot right now, just as a placeholder. Ah, hello, Josephine's grandma. Pleasure having you with us today. Oh, I enjoy doing these lessons. I am glad when they are also enjoyed. This is fun time for me as well. This is my interaction with you guys, and I'm very much so miss interacting with my fans and all you amazing people, and it's a great way to interact together. Started taking sips of coffee. I have a protein shake today, making sure I stay on my nutrition. Eating right is very important, guys. So as I mentioned, this leg's going down, and this one's going to be on an angle. So she's having a bit of that little side strut to herself today. So this is why I angled everything just a little bit. And this leg right here, draw it so it overlaps a bit where the knee is, and the knee can be a little lower because of the positioning that she's in today. We're following that animation curve, and then we are bending it back out. So you can see she already has a very sassy pose today. Oops, sorry, let me move that up for you guys. You are right, I had to pick it up. And once you have this shape right here down, and this is a nice triangle, this triangle I drew quite flat. This one, curve it a bit so it's a slightly curved triangle, because that way she has that little strut, that little sassy look. Drawing her very organically today. Donut's not healthy. Have something healthy. Very important to have something healthy. So now we're going to set up her arm sockets, which I'm just going to do 2 little cylinders. And once again, we are going to go on the thinner side because she's very lanky and we all have different body types. And no matter what type of body type, we should all be happy that we're all different from each other. And that's what makes drawing different characters really cool. Drawing thinner, thicker, muscular characters are all, for me, really fun to draw because I like the different shapes. And yeah, we haven't really drawn a very lanky character before. So I'm just going to set up a line to show you guys how the arm's going to be. It's going to be a V shape. And this one's going to be a slightly lower V shape, but it follows the same. This one's just ever so slightly higher. This one's ever so slightly lower. The reason for that, we're just making the pose a little more dynamic. Okay, good. Have a salad after your donut. Very good. And right here, these circles right here will be the sockets that we're going to place the hands on, but we're just going to leave that as a placeholder. And then we're going to turn this into a cylinder. I'm going to put a circle where the elbow is and connect everything together. And we're going to do that on both sides today. So you can see she's a lot more lanky than we usually draw them, but it's really fun. It's something a little different. And now we're going to go move to the hands, which is something we all struggle with. So I'm going to show you the basic shape to setting up the hand pose today. I like to set up almost like a rectangle shape to help establish how I want the hand to be. This one, I'm making it slightly up. This one, I'm going to curve it just over a bit more. I know, hands. And the way you always have to remember, keep placement for the fingers. And we're going to learn a pose, which it's harder for me to explain because I just draw this pose. So I'm going to try my best to describe it because we want her hand. Sorry, I forgot the hands. Basically, we want it like this. So it's a pose that's a little harder to draw, but I'll show you guys how to do it. So right here, this part right here is going to be right here. So you guys can draw a little cylinder, and then you can curve it upwards into a little curved cylinder going up. And her fingers are going to be falling behind. So the other finger will be peekabooing from behind this one. And you have to think about little peekabooing fingers. So this one is on top and the other ones are falling behind. And the thumb, we have to add our little cylinder. I'm going to add a little curve right here and add the thumb. It's a little tricky, I know. Let me move it up for you guys So you can see how I did it. I start off with a rectangle. I cut it in half with a little cylinder. Then I curve the cylinder and then layer the other cylinder slightly behind. And then I pointed the cylinder upwards. That's that good. Still messed up. I gotta go to the doctor, guys. I definitely have to go get it checked out. I think I tore a ligament because I think that's why it's taking so long to heal. Now, the way we did this one, this hand, we're going to draw a little more open. So the way we're going to do that is, once again, establish our little cylinder line. But for this hand, instead of doing the overlap, we're going to make it open and we're going to set up basically the basic shape, which has to go up in the middle because this finger right here is longer. So we got to keep that in mind. So almost like a mitten shape. And then once again, you set up a circle and a little cylinder for our thumb. And then in our mitten shape, we could draw the lines. 1, 2, 3. So you guys can see that? Very, very basic. So we start off with a rectangle. We cut into it, set up a mitten shape, added a curved cylinder for our thumb, and then cut our cylinder shape into equal finger parts. Not too hard, but definitely takes some learning. And now we can go and start working out with some of the details of the face. Woohoo! So we're going to be drawing her with her eyes closed cheerfully today. It's a very known pose in when you see advertising of her in the movie. But I thought it would be a really fun pose to cutify today. So the way we're going to do the eyes, we're going to do a cylinder shape. Kind of like a cylinder shape. I left the bottom open for now. And then we're going to do a more harder cut. So it's going to be a slightly curved line, but not really a cylinder. Then we're going to darken it up and add a little point, little triangle at the end for her eyelashes. And she has quite high eyebrows, so this part of her eye is her eye being closed. And now from here, I'm going to draw a very curved, exaggerated thin eyebrow. So it's very much following the shape of the eye. And Cruella has a very pointy nose, so I'm just going to draw a little upside down triangle for her nose. And we're going to draw her with a nice big grin today. So I'm going to just set a little placeholder on each side, little dot, just to set up where I want her face to be. And then we're going to curve it downwards. And we're just going to square off. Usually we draw a very rounded smile. We're going to add a bit of a square shape to this. Yeah, she's definitely a character that stands out. Somebody wrote, for a movie that is about dogs, she was the only character that stood out to me. Me too. So we're going to curve inwards as though we would be doing the rounded smile, but kind of like we did here, we're going to box it out a bit more. And we're going to give her lips, which is something I know a lot of you struggle with. And the way we're going to do the lips is we're going to follow this shape and just draw another line close to it. So see, I'm following it very thinly, but it's quite obvious that it's her lips. And I'm going to go out, keeping it almost non-existent here and then getting thicker, and then boxing her lips. And then we're going to add her teeth, just to show that she is smiling. She's very happy. Because she's crazy. Someone asked, never understood why she wanted a coat made out of dog. Because she's a collector, and that's what she wanted to collect, the fur coat. So now she has very high cheekbones, so we're going to start with the sides of her face. But as we get to about where her eyelash is, we're going to go out into a triangle shape and create a quite pronounced cheekbone. And then we're going to go down to the sides, and we're going to make her chin a little more jagged. So usually we round it, but we're just going to make it a harsher chin line. There's our Cruella De Vil. So we can't really see her ears, but we are going to add two little earrings right here. Her cheekbones are just so big, they cover up her earrings. So we're just draw two cylinders for her earrings. Then we're going to go at her neck. Notice that my neck was a little too short for the chin, so I'm just going to lower the shoulder line just a little bit below. And then I'm going to do her upper chest. I'm just going to give it a bit of a curve, not a big one, just a little one, so you guys can see. And I'm curving inwards for her waist. And then sharply I'm curving out. So almost like an hourglass shape. Yes, if I would try to draw her car, we would be here for several hours while I try to figure out her car. Definitely not quick on the car drawings. So she does wear a dress. So remember, guys, when we draw clothes, we always follow the shape of the body underneath. It's our placeholder, and we move the fabric around it. So keep this in mind. So this part of the dress is going to follow this leg and pop out right about here. So just below her knee. And it's going to curve around. And then this one right here is going to follow her leg. You add a little line, a little crease, two little creases, and then pop it out. And she has pointy shoes. So we're going to go down and follow that shape we created. And we're going to follow the bottom, but we're going to give her a heel. So when we get to about this point right here, I want you guys to do a little triangle shape and then add a little heel. Very simple. Ah, my reference fell asleep. Wake up. I need you. And then her boot, add a little square shape to cap off her boot. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. But this one's slightly curved because of her pose. Little triangle makes a little square right there. And a little square to create her boot. We're getting it! So she has quite a large jacket, which hangs off her shoulders a little bit. So about right here, we could create the first part of her jacket and can overlap her dress just a little bit. And this one right here, because she's swinging, she has a swinging pose. So we're going to follow that action line, as you guys can see, because we're using it as a guide. That's a really great comment. It was someone wrote, that could be the title of your bio book, Cars and Hands, Aggy's Journey and Struggle of an Artist. Yep, drawing cars and hands. So right here, we're going to curve this one out. So that way it looks like she is swaying with her jacket. And that's our basic shape for her body today. And her dress has a V shape. So we're going to draw a little V shape right here. Ta-da! And she has hair that parts in the middle. I'm going to draw a line right here that cuts into her hair, her headline, just to start establishing where I want her hair to sit. And I'm going to draw a line right here as a divide between her hair, because her hair is actually two colors. So we are going to now draw the hair, which basically, if you guys want to know the shape, I'm just going to draw you guys a very rough shape of what the hair is going to be like. The hair is going to be pretty much like this. So it looks almost pretty much like a heart shape. So this is the basic shape we're going to be carving out for her hair. But we're going to be adding the hair details. And she has bangs. So I'm going to carve out this shape for the bangs. So this is the shape that we're going to be working with today. And now we're going to add the hair details. Remember, guys, I draw hair and fur very similar. And I draw it in clumps. So little clumps of shape. So I'm going to add a little sharper tip right here. Curve it back. And a little slightly rounded tip right there. So add sharp tips. So it's in big clumps. I'm not focusing on individual hairs. I'm just focusing on the shape. And then once again, little triangle, little points. I'm gonna add a little bit of a curve right here. And that's our Cruella De Vil hair, right there. Creating the points, thinking clumps, making sure they're spaced randomly. And this right here is going to be black. And when you're drawing black hair and there's two lines that meet, add a little bit of a break where this part is going to be white. The reason why is so that way when I color all this black, which should be already a black line, is going to be technically read as a white line that divides the two shapes. And her dress will be black too, by the way. Black, 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 black. Alrighty. So the top of her dress has almost like a hood-like shape. So I'm going to draw a line right here, curved. So it looks like there's two curved triangles and then a loop. So it looks like the hood is hanging behind her jacket. And I am going to draw the arm part of her jacket because it is quite wide. So draw a line that curves and another line that curves because this way it shows that she has a really baggy jacket on. And then curve it back around and bring it back up to behind the hood. And here, yeah, one more little crease and then bring it back up towards her hood. And this side right here, we're going to draw that curved line. And once again, add that little hoop so it looks almost like she has a really big jacket. You can add the little break right here. Then curve it back under her hood. And now we're going to draw the jacket details, which are very oval clinks shapes. Bye. Thank you for stopping by. So here's our first hooped shape. So you can see it starts off thinner and gets thicker. And we could draw a second one. And then we could draw a little bit of a peekaboo from her third one. So it looks like she has a really big, wide jacket. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So it looks like it's flowing. And then a little peekaboo. And inside of her jacket's red, but the bottom has the same color as this. So I want you guys to draw a hoop shape, and a little peekaboo hoop shape. And then draw a little line away from it because this part right here is going to be red underneath. And there's our Cruella De Vil. Cruella De Vil. Do 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 do. So now that we have this set up, grab your darker colors. So if you got pencil, crayon, a marker, we're going to be working with the darker colors. She looks like your aunt. So it's really funny. Actually, she does kind of look like my aunt at one point. Alrighties. So now we're going to start only picking the lines we want to keep, ignoring any lines we don't want to keep. Oh, and the one thing I did forget to, we're just going to leave it like that. I don't feel like dealing with it. Ignore me. Alrighty, so I'm just going to start right here. The reason why is I want to show you guys how to do this area because her hair is going to be black. Right here, do a second line, keeping rather close to that first line. And it'll make sense once we blacken the hair out because we're going to blacken the hair since usually I add color for hair, but let's make her hair black just to show you guys how to work with deeper black shapes. Outline her face, her cheekbone, go down to her jaw. It's easier for me to turn the page, guys. Sorry, that's how I prefer to ink. And then this hair right here, which this side's going to be white. The line we established. And yes, I do turn my work a lot when I work. I just do prefer to do lines a certain way. So we're just going to start flipping this. So I can ink the cheekbone, the face, earring. Now I can go back and do this. And I usually do start with shapes that go on top. And the reason why is so that way I remember what is on top. Because sometimes when you set yourself up with a lot of guidelines, you can very easily forget what goes at the top and what goes at the bottom. Just gonna grab a different brush for the black. And then we're gonna fill this in with black. All black, 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 black. Fill that in. Very rare I do solid blacks, but some pieces call for it and the look that you want to get. No, a blue highlight would still work. Like this, you could make it blue afterwards. You could darken it up. I'm leaving it white for now because I want it to be a line. But yeah, blue would work really well, which I could totally do it blue. Show you how it looks. But we're leaving it white for now. Yeah. Yeah, see how it looks? So that way we can see that there's a divide, because otherwise if I would have just left that, filled that all black, it would just look like a black clunk and you wouldn't see the bangs. So that's what we decided to do today. And I'm going to outline her eyes. I'm going to try to keep it pretty thin. And her eyebrow, I'm going to thicken it up just a little bit, especially as I go over down the middle. And I'm going to do the bottom eyelashes. I'm going to thicken them up nicely. It works really well that the cheekbone's there too, because that way I could use that shape. And her little pointy nose. And then you want to be very delicate with the lips, all right, guys? So you want to make sure to keep your lines very thin. Do it nice and slow. I tend to hold my breath when I do very sensitive lines. It's just a weird habit I have, which I think other artists also might. Doo -doo -doo. You can see I'm being very delicate with these lines. I'm keeping them very thin in comparison to other lines I've done on this piece. And that's the thing about lips, guys. You want to be very delicate with them. And her neck and her shoulder. So I'm going to draw this hair to remind myself that yes, it is going over her coat. And now I could draw her coat line right here because it is something that overlaps. So remember, guys, I like to focus on what overlaps first. And this hood overlaps. And this right here definitely has overlaps. And her hood. And around. Someone says, I can tell you will do eyeshadow for the eyes so they look closed. What's a good tip to make eyes look closed if you're just doing black and white? Um, where the thickest of the eyelashes are, if it's at the bottom, you can already tell that it looks closed, just the way black and white. There's no eye detail because I kept everything super thin. Another way to make an eye look closed when you're doing eyelids, don't close the eyelid completely. Like leave like a little gap at the top. I close them because of the shape I'm doing, but like leave a here. Sorry. So if leave a little gap at the top like that. So that way it becomes quite clear that the eye is closed. You can see that? Just black and white already shows that it helps. Not filling it up completely. So now we can move to the hands. So remember guys, this is where it got a little tricky. So I'm going to start with this finger because this is the finger that's on top. I'm going to do the line right here and fill in the thumb. And now remember, these fingers overlap. So you want them peekabooing behind that finger. Making sure this one's always the longest. Now you want to do the same thing to the other side. This hand pose is just slightly different. And this one has a little less of an overlap. So that way you saw two different hand poses that way. Yeah, so basically when you don't close up the eyelids completely, it looks like it's a part of the head. That is correct. Now I'm going to go over here, loop, loop, loop. Now right over here, close that up, loop, loop, loop. And now we can move to her dress. So I'm just going to start right here, her arm. Then follow along here, curve here. And I'll black that up in a moment because I gotta grab my other marker. So I'm just gonna move to the leg and I'm going to outline it. This inner line I'm gonna keep thinner because I like to keep inner lines thinner, especially if they're detail lines. Very important. Do the same thing, outline, keep that inner line thinner. Remember guys, I added little hoops here at the bottom of her jacket and this little detail line. And now I could blacken her dress. So I'm going to just grab a thicker. Yeah, bold lines do help, especially if you notice that I weigh a lot of my lines at the bottom. It does help to add weight. And a lot of time you want to keep detail lines thinner and the main shape lines thicker. And that helps it give it weight. And it also helps add some line variation. I'm just going to black that in because it looked too thin. So there's our basic Cruella De Vil. I'm just going to give it a second to dry. You can see her dancing in front of the camera. Da, 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 da. Cruella De Vil, Cruella De Vil. Do, 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 do. Cruella, Cruella De Vil. Get a little song while I try to make sure it's dry. Yay! And then very gently, guys, erase. And when you erase, you want to hold the paper down because you don't want your paper to move on you. So make sure to hold your paper down. It's very important. You don't want to damage your paper, which you've seen me do in the past if you've watched my other streams. Oops, it's exactly dry there. Oh well, oops. I went the wrong way. I'm making a mess around my workstation. And right there. There we go. And we have Cruella ready for some colors. What kind of music would she listen to? I don't know. I think she would like some maybe jazzy type music. I don't know. That's a good question. What kind of music would Cruella De Vil listen to? And maybe some epic classical music. Who knows? Maybe even some metal. I think she might enjoy a little bit of metal. Ragtime. Yes, ragtime music. That's pretty appropriate too. All right, so she has red gloves, red back here, and skin color base. So let's start with the lighter colors. Just go right into skin color. So I'm mixing up my skin color. And remember, guys, I like to start where I feel the darkest shadows would be. And I'm going around, picking those colors in first. And then I take a bit of more water, because if you take water, it helps dissolve some of the color on your brush, because your brush now is not holding as much water as it did. The more water you add, the less color you have. And I'm leaving a bit of white on her eyelids, just a little bit to show the reflection that they might be having. And add a little darkness on the side of her nose. So that's our skin color for Cruella today. Now let's grab that nice red so we don't forget that there are aspects of our outfit that have red to it. So I'm mixing up just my red. Grab your red. And her gloves are red. She wears long red gloves. And inside right here is red as well. And her shoes are red. That's another thing that's red. She has a great palette to work with. I think the red and the black work really well together in the beige of her jacket. In case you're wondering what beige is like a light brown, yellow-orange kind of shade. And her shoes are also red. Yeah, she's a little more pale. She's very pink indeed. But yeah, definitely give her a little bit more of a complexion. She spent a little too much time in the sun on vacation. Alrighty, and her earrings are blue, so grab a little blue. Oh, and her lipstick is also red, and you want to be very careful when you go in with the lipstick. So you want to make sure to stay in the line. Don't. So mix up a little bit of red. Should really grab a thinner brush, but I'm being lazy, and I think I could do this. Very delicately fill in her lips. Take your time. There's no rushing. Don't fall asleep on me. There we go. There we go. Very delicately we did that. And now we're going to mix up our base. So I'm going to grab a tan color because I have a nice tan. So grab my tan color. And now I'm going to add a tiny bit of purple into my tan just because it's too bright. And purple will help dull it down. So I'm grabbing a little bit of purple. And the moment you add just a little bit of purple, not a lot, it will help dull down that color. Oh, you guys, yeah, where is it? Oh, you can't see you mixing it. There you go. So it turned it less bright. The moment I add a tiny bit of purple to it, it just goes a little less bright. And now I'm going to give her a little highlight there. So I'm leaving it white. Add a little darkness there because it's overlapping. And go down her jacket. Once again, I'm going to leave a little white so that way it has a little bit of a reflection. She has a shiny, beautiful jacket. And just color that in. And then right here, the same color. I'm going to add a little bit of a reflection right here. Just a little one. You didn't think I could do a cute Cruella? I know. And someone asked, what is her coat made of? You say hamster? I know, I wonder what her coat is made out of. I'm a little worried to think of what her coat is made out of. A little scared. And she has purple tights. So we want to mix up purple. Remember, blue and red make purple. Blue, red, purple. Just a little more purple since I'll be using a bit more. Giving her purple tights. So those are our base colors. And now we're going to work with the white. So we're going to use some blues and purples to do some of the hair highlights. And our light source, we always want to think about our light source, is like right here. Coming from above. So we're keeping that in mind. So we're going to add a little bit of blue at the bottom right here. Following the shape of the hair. I'm going to add some blue down here because this part would most likely be under shadow. And we're going to fade this one out a bit more. Just move it up here. And on the outside here, we could add a little blue. So we're thinking, guys, where the shadows would hit, and if there's hair overlapping, they would definitely sit underneath. So there's the blue in the hair, if you want a little better look at it. Oh, you Wikipedia it. It's a mink coat. All right, good job looking that up. I'm going to mix up a little red and just add a little purple to my red. And I'm going to start adding some of the details and the shadows to her face. And I want to keep them quite delicate, so I'm going to try to fade them out. Because a lot of times when you do the face, you don't want to add too sharp lines. Unless they're like under hair, for example, where there definitely would be a harder shadow cast. And add a little bit under her eyebrows right here. I'm just going to fade that out. A little bit side of her nose. And a little more purple under her chin. Because she's definitely not getting a lot of light under her chinny chin chin. Yep. because now it feels more gray. It just doesn't feel like a white space, so it helps age her a little bit more, but still keep her cute. So since I have purple in the back, I'm going to make up a little bit of a purple red. And I'm just going to fill it out at the top. I'm just going to fade it out as it goes down. Just add a little more contrast back there. And maybe where it hits her jacket right here, just darken that up a bit more. I'm just going to add a bit of a darkness and a little bit of red purple back here, just to show that this part of her jacket is not getting a lot of light. So it looks darker naturally by adding a bit of that purple red hint to it. And I'm going to add a bit of that purple red back here because this part is most likely not getting any light, so we want to make sure it is darker. And now we want to make sure to start adding where we feel the shadows could be. And back here, I'm using purple, guys, just so you guys know, because it goes well with the color and it will dull it out. Because this part right here is underneath, following the shape of the jacket, following where some of the bends are, adding a bit of a shadow right here because it is being covered by her hair and her giant head. So remember, guys, when we think shadows, we always have to remember our light source and what would be covering that shadow. And now we can start working with these shapes right here. Little shadows to the bottom and to the top, and then we can fade it out if you can. If not, just follow the basic shape. Like just fade it out a little more, keep it darker at the top. Basically, a lot of times I like to keep where joints are or connecting pieces a little darker. Lighten it up as it goes down, then darken it up a little at the bottom because that part's most likely not getting a lot of light. I'm doing the same thing to this arm as I did the other one, following a lot of the same shadows. Now that's dry. I'm going to darken it up just a little more right here. Adding a little purple in her dress because I erased too hard there. There we go. And I'm going to add a bit of blue, darker blue, just right here to show that her dress is hitting above her shoes. So you can see it's a very tiny detail right there. So now she needs the ground to stand on, so I'm going to add a bit of purple just under her as a shadow. Just a rough shadow just to make sure she has a ground placement, and then I'll add a background color to this piece. Purple actually might be a pretty good background color for this, like a purple blue. Let's do that. I'm gonna mix up more purple. I think it'll contrast it really nicely. So I mixed up some more purple. Yeah, her clothes are pretty much her personality in the movie. They really work together to help create her movement and her shape. It's very, very well done. Oh, and just add a little purple. Sorry, guys, I totally forgot her hands, just at the bottom of her hands. Just a little bit. Now go back to the background. Just roughly. As I get away from her, I start adding more water so the color fades out. Closer to her, I could use a little more water. So I'm adding some water first. Add a bit more color. Following closely. Fading out roughly, just having fun with the shapes. Fading out the purple. Making it very organic feeling. Let's go to the other side. Gonna put down some water first. One thing I forgot to do, and I'll do it in a second, but we're gonna finish this background first. Add more water as you want the color to fade out. Less water, more color. More water, less color. That's how watercolors work. Water helps change the consistency of colors when you work with them. There we go. You guys remember that little white line? I thought I was going to turn it blue. I completely forgot to turn it blue. So once you got the background, just right here where the white is, you could turn it blue. So it just helps nullify the brightness of that shadow. So it looks basically like that. So now it's blue, it's just pushed back a little more. Oh my, I reuse the same napkin a little while because that's that way I don't waste it. Oh, and when you're done, you gotta sign it. So of course I lost my marker. Oh, there it is. And then you put your name saying, I am finished. Ta-da! So there we have it. We have Cruella De Vil. More learning about hair and flow and shapes, all sorts of good stuff to learn today. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Wash your hands, wear masks, be nice to each other. And thank you so much for joining today. Bye, guys.